everyone here in this room, we're all brought here for one reason. We're not satisfied with surfing just being in the ocean. Just by being in the seats here today, you guys are contributing on bringing surfing to the less fortunate who can't live on a beach with that $1 million home, whatever it is. So the next 15 minutes, we just want to tell you what we're doing to try and get surfing off the ocean. Matt, hopefully it's time to do it.
Surfing has always been limited to those who can travel to the world's best coastlines.
That's right, but surfing could soon be coming to a river near you.
Damn, man.
That's right, I said river. That's right, I said river.
If you look at skateboarding and how it spawned out of surfing as a whole, I mean, it was this idea about surfing a concrete wave. We're dreaming about surfing a standing wave. Something that takes surfing right from the ocean, from the coast, from these remote breaks, to this awesome spot that could occur anywhere, in any town, in any city around the world. Something that's free for everybody that wants to surf, that wants to get out there. All that you need is you need a river, you need some flowing water, and you need to be able to make this feature. And that's what we're doing here. We want to design a world-class river surfing wave that's going to be free for anybody. All that they need is those few things, that flowing water, and the money, and the need, and the will to make it happen.
River surfing began the moment surfers saw standing waves and realized that they could surf outside of the ocean. The earliest videos of river surfing are from the 1960s and 1970s on the Egsgard wave in Munich, Germany, and on the Lunch Counter wave near Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Since then, individuals and small groups of people have picked up surfing around the world. But it was in the 2000s that the true growth began.
River surfing pioneer Elijah Mack, he started the World River Surfing Association, and he made it his mission to go out and surf more river waves than anyone else on the planet. He'd go out to connect with river surfers in that community, inspire more exploration, and share his video and photos with others. In the last 5 years, we've seen a huge explosion of people all around the world posting their videos and photos, surfing the river waves in their community. Everywhere from Ireland, Switzerland, France, all around Europe, all around Canada, and through the US.
Now there are over 65 documented riverways around the world, and many more secret breaks. Everywhere a riverway has been found, lasting communities have formed, and businesses have sprung up to support them. There are surf shops renting boards, not just selling clothing, but renting gear in landlocked locations like Pueblo, Colorado, Calgary, Alberta, Egsgard, Switzerland, and Munich, Germany. More waves are wanted, and more waves are needed. This is where the Surf Anywhere project comes in.
We're planning to usher in a new era. Our mission is simple. We're building and testing world-class river surfing waves. We're sharing that information with the world and making it as easy as possible for people to build these waves in their community.
River surfing is already here, and the demand for the waves spreads as fast as the knowledge that they exist. The biggest barrier to answering that demand for surfing is the difficulty in finding waves. Waves only appear at certain times of the year and in very specific locations. If you're not fortunate enough to see the river at the right time and to live near a natural feature, then there's no easy way for you to surf and not even an easy way for you to begin. We are building the Surf Anywhere project from a love of surfing and a desire to see it spread. And since 2007, we've donated a large amount of time, money, and energy to build and share this project. So why are we living 3,500 feet above sea level in Calgary, Alberta, pushing so hard to spread surfing? In addition to a deep love of the sport and a solid combination of skills and resources, we have the perfect location for building and testing waves. 40 minutes outside of Calgary, Alberta, in a provincial park of evergreen forest overlooked by the Rocky Mountains is the Kananaskis River. The Kananaskis River flows at 1,000 cubic feet per second throughout the year, but every night it shuts off completely. The river is fed from a power dam. When the water is flowing, you can have a world-class surf wave and generate hydroelectric power. When the water is off, you can walk across it without getting wet. Well, that covers being able to easily do the work in the river, but what about the permits? For the past 30 years, there's been regular river modifications, creating and improving a whitewater park for rafters and kayakers. Since 2007, we have been involved in shaping the river for surfers. The picture you see behind us is from 2005. It shows 3 of the original crew with me in the middle, standing on one of our first features, which consists of a concrete parking block and a boulder. That lovely combination created a green wave. It wasn't incredibly big, but it was enough to sustain and build a surf community.
When we saw this huge potential in our backyard, we knew we had to share this information with the world. It's because our river turned off at night that we could afford to make mistakes, that we could tweak our designs. We have adjustable features in that river, and that's what we're trying to do.
There's 3 waves we got up there. These are waves that, when we looked around the world and looked at the different river surfing features, these are the 3 that stood out for their simplicity and their success. The first one is the Almvella, which is the one in the middle. This is in Austria. The wave is built with a drop of a little bit of about 1.7 feet, and it's a very small flow rate of 200 cubic feet per second. Even with that small amount of water, they created a clean and surfable wave. The Almvella shows that even in places with almost no water, you can have surfing. The second one is from the Knova Wave Park in Slovakia. That's the one you see on the left and was also in the video. The channel for this wave was built entirely from scratch and is part of a larger whitewater park. The Knova wave shows that a similar design can work at higher flow levels. And the last one is the famous icebox. It's on the right. The icebox shows the potential of a powerful and endless free wave. The wave is large enough to allow explosive moves. It runs every day of the year and is surfed almost every minute there is light. In fact, it is surfed so much that they will set up spotlights in order to surf into the night. Not only that, but it gets a regular crowd of spectators. All of these waves need no pumps and have no operational cost. This is a state of river surfing on the 3 basic waves, but we can do much better.
What we're talking about here is the ability to offer a surf experience miles from any ocean. In towns and cities around the world, when you have a passionate group of landlocked surfers who have the will and the passion and the drive and the money to make this happen. We see these river waves spreading the same way skate parks did in the 1990s. But we also see an opportunity to form new waves and form a distinct new sport, different from its roots in the ocean. Munich has definitely set the bar as to what a world-class river surfing wave could be. But in our river, we plan to raise that bar.
Just imagine where these waves could be built. One spot is in the large number of existing whitewater parks. Fortunately and unfortunately, there are a significant number of these parks that were poorly built and only lightly used. These parks can be easily modified to include excellent river surfing waves. We are working with a group in British Columbia to do exactly that. Successful whitewater parks can easily add in surf features. And aside from existing facilities, anywhere there is even a small river, you can have surf waves. We are making the design and construction very easy to understand. With only the initial investment required, no operating costs, and minor ongoing maintenance, these waves are accessible to all river communities from small towns to major centers.
In Munich, we see Florian Humer doing rail grinds. Up from the hillside, grinding a rail down into his wave. We see him landing kickflips and bringing the X Games, bringing river surfing into the X Games. Tao Schuremacher, in his championship heat in the World Champion in the European Championship this year, he's busting 180 airs and pop shove-its with complete ease. Here, this is Simon Bitterly. The kid's 13 and he's surfing almost as well as Tao, the European champion. He's doing 180 airs in his fast, aggressive style. Is that characteristic of river surfing on a Munich wave? There's something incredibly exciting here. The future of river surfing will be something we've never even seen before. And it's something that's impossible on an ocean wave. We're talking about something completely new. What we're trying to do with our project is make sure that doesn't happen just in Munich, but in any river city around the world.
Our most recent project is our most ambitious and sets the stage for riverways everywhere. We are building a 20-foot wide, 3 to 4 foot high feature with the ability to dramatically modify the wave shape on a daily basis with no ongoing cost. The feature will have more available power than the ice block wave and can be relatively easily increased in size. The feature, including the installation, is going to cost us $20,000. We raised $15,000 from over 80 donors consisting of local surfers, their friends and families, and including $3,500 in Alberta government funding. We have $5,000 to go, but we have time. The over 650 donated hours of skilled labor allowed us to complete the out-of-river construction in September 2013, which was last week. We'll be sharing the details of the design and the construction the next month. We have all the permits lined up for the in-river construction, and we'll be installing the feature in spring 2014. From that point forward, we will be regularly testing and sharing wave shapes and using that knowledge to build larger and better features. Great progress in our waves and great ideas to share, but it doesn't stop there. Other communities and surfers are already on board. We've started work with groups in Czech Republic, Montreal and Ottawa in Eastern Canada, in Montana, with surfers in British Columbia, and most recently surfers in Alaska. The desire for waves is there, the need for reliable, quality knowledge is there, and Surf Anywhere is here, creating and gathering the pieces needed for waves everywhere.
We'd like to tell you it's easy. You can just build a structure and drop it in the river. We'd like to say that people are lining up to donate their money and expertise, but who believe in our dream, but unfortunately steel isn't welded together with dreams. It takes a huge effort from a lot of people. Just us being here today is an example of people sharing this project. That's how we got invited to speak.
What we ask of you is simple. Make the connection. Share the Surf Anywhere project. Tell the landlocked that they can make a surf wave happen even in small communities. Tell them that we are here to help them make it happen. Donate your expertise and your dollars. Not all communities will have the pockets to pay for every piece of the wave. Help us reduce those costs. And lastly, help us bring surfing everywhere. Thank you.
Are you guys familiar? Are you guys familiar with the Boise River project, where I think I spent $2 million on a similar project?
Yeah.
And is there anything that you've learned from that project?
Yeah, the one in Boise, right now it's being used by kayakers and surfers. They recently decided to, I think it's about a 50-50 split. There's a couple of different waves they can make there. One creates more of a hole, I believe, that's preferred by the kayakers. The other wave that is made is a bit more of a surfing wave. The biggest thing there is that the in-ramp into the wave, all of these waves that I'm talking about are gravity fed. It's too steep, so there's not enough room in between where you're surfing to the wet water coming in. There's not much of a trough there, and that causes an issue for the surfing. Okay?
Yeah, one of the best things that's come out of Boise is just the overall support that they've had through community and government, things like that. Their biggest drawback is they don't have a world-class wave. It's very similar to the other whitewater parks that everybody's trying it. Everybody's getting in there and building waves. But we're looking at setting a standard for something that's world-class, something that's unique or better.
Yep.
I got a couple of questions. First question is, what are the top qualities, I guess the top 2 qualities you look for when building a standing river wave? And then the second question is basically, I guess I haven't surfed the river wave before, but when you wipe out, what is the structure underneath, or is it like how far away is it from where the actual wave is, the surfable section of the wave?
All right, on the first one, the 2 qualities that you need are you need enough flow. The lowest one wave that I've seen that works is 200 cubic feet per second, which is not very much. And you need a drop, because that drop is what's giving you the energy for your wave. And the smallest one we've seen is 1.7 feet. So at least 200 cubic feet per second in flow and at least 1.7 foot drop, which is somewhere around there. Jake, as far as sorry, what was the second question? Oh, you'll have
Yeah, so it's actually quite deep. It's not anything close to the flow rider or an inch of water. We're talking about 3 feet of water when we're talking about structure. The other thing is the structure that's making the wave. When you fall down, you fall off the wave, the current from the river is moving so fast that by the time you're into the water, you're behind the actual structure.
Yeah, one of the structures we tested, we did a test structure in our previous construction period in May, where we actually had a large structure right underneath where you were surfing. When you fell off of that, you would land on top of it and get washed downstream. It was only maybe 1.5 feet deep, but the water was going fast enough that it just blew you off the back. The ones that we're building now, they don't have a large structure underneath. The water comes down in a long ramp, and then it goes into a kicker. And that kicker is quite short, and you actually don't surf on top of much of the structure.
I was going to give Scott Bass $1,500 for his Kickstarter, but I'll give it to you now.
How far apart did you put those on, like the one that's 400,000 cubic feet per second? How far away can you put the next one so that you can have more and more of these down to the river?
I'm not entirely sure right now. We have to build a few of them right together. But all you have to do is if you just need more of a drop. So if you have, it just depends on how much your gradient in your river is. The steeper the slope is, the closer together you can put. You need, I don't know, if it would be 50 or 100 feet downstream in order to comfortably get out of the river and get into the calm water on the side of the river before the next structure.
There would be ways, like we've talked about, that's another innovation that we're talking about. That's down the road. There would have to be some way from the surfer falling off the first wave to not interrupt the surfing in the second. So we've talked about snaking paths, the channel snaking, or some kind of grade structure that they can walk out and not disrupt the second wave. More than just the physics of that drop and creating a second wave.
Yes.
You guys have the luxury of that river stopping
Yeah.
to build it. And so, what if you don't have that luxury?
Well, there's 2 ways to handle that. It's a great question. Our river shuts off, so it makes it very, very easy for us. The first one is expensive, and you have to divert the river, which is what they do whenever you do major river construction. You would build berms, divert the river around the area you want to work in, and do the construction there. The other way of doing it is, since you only need part of the river, you could build a channel the side of the river where you complete all of your work there and then make the connection into the river.
The best thing about our luxury of our river is just testing the designs. Is building something and being able to make those mistakes without, going through that $1 million project. When someone does go through with building a river wave on their end, we want to make sure it's flawless.
Yep.
Hi guys, we've just started helping out with the projects in Hamilton in British Columbia.
Oh.
So I kind of follow-up question based on that is, what can we and everyone else in this room do to help you and the overall project? What specific help do you need, and how do we get involved?
All right. It was actually Pemberton's one of the guys I went and met with when took a look at the Whitewater Park with them and explained the basics of what they needed to do. As far as helping us with the overall project is we need work as far as the engineering, working on other ways, help with the drawing, help with pretty much any of the technical side in order to bring the quality up. What we're doing is we're taking the first steps and creating everything to the standard that we can. The higher standard that we can do in any area, the better it is. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone who wants to build a good riverway to do that. In order to make that easy, we have to take all the pieces, the regulatory, the environmental, the hydraulic, the structural engineering, and bring it to the highest standard we possibly can.
Okay, so you need some of the friendly engineers in this room to donate some time.
Yeah, that would be great.
We all saw Tom Locke's, that blue thing that was on the end of his boat that was driving through and creating a double barrel, right?
Yeah.
I say we drop that in the river.
I like that idea a lot. I got a river near Calgary.
Yeah, we'll let you know how it turns out. All right, guys. Thank you so much.